Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of A Drink with Qrow and Jaune. We are your hosts. I'm Qrow,
Hey everybody, this is Jaune.
and we'd like to welcome you back. Jaune, we discussed it before we started this. We've got a couple of comments for the last video when we posted it about how we missed some things. We want to clear this up right away. We will be discussing that in a later video.
Yes.
And probably maybe even touching a base on it a little bit this one, because there was
Right.
quite a few points the gentleman had pointed out to us on the RWBY Amino site, which, by the way, everyone, if you hadn't heard of it, download RWBY Amino. It's a wonderful site, wonderful app for your phone. We both have the Android system. I believe it is also on the Apple programming, probably. I'm not 100% certain.
Right. Yeah, we're not exactly sure on this one because we both have the Android phones, so we got ours. But anyways, so basically tonight's video, you guys, we're going to go over a couple things here, or at least one thing here that we've been kind of like tossing this around for a while, and that's mainly mainly for Team RWBY and most of Team Juniper. Well, of course, everybody mixed together, but the semblances, because there were a couple things that we noticed, quite clearly, and
Others that we have been not noticing very much, because the semblances in the RWBY world, from what we understand and what people have been told, are specific abilities granted to each character. It's perfect. It's just for them. However, certain semblances are inherited, like the Schnee family's glyphs, which we will be touching base on that with them as well. What we're first going to discuss, though, is actually name off some of the ones we do know of. We have RWBY Speed, which that's what we believe it is, though it has evolved as semblances do. Yang's Temper Tantrum, aka Super Saiyan, which,
right.
as you know that one, we have what we just spoke of, the Schnee Dust family's glyph semblance. Blake's Shadows, her shadow clones. We have Nora's Thunder Lightning Absorption. We have
or basically a female Thor, and something we refer to as.
We have Ren's, for lack of a better terminology for that, I literally would just call that emotion control. There's really no other way I can describe it. You got Pyrrha's polarity, however the frick you say it.
And then of course,
you got Jaune's, which we will be touching pretty big on that. We believe everything that points at so far, as well as what we have seen, indicates that Jaune, as he said, he wasn't healing Weiss, he was simply boosting her aura. So he is either an aura booster, or he can increase their power.
Right, and hey, I didn't realize what was going on at first. I just figured, I just wanted to shoot. A friend was down. I was trying not to let her die, so I was like, okay, I can't let this happen. I can't watch another friend die. So, and then as I was sure it was healing. I thought I was healing her for a minute, though. And then, as this power is just all around her, I didn't think what was going on at first, but then that was when I realized, oh, wait a minute. I don't think I'm healing her at all. I think I'm just boosting her. I think I'm just boosting her aura. I didn't even realize this until this happened. And so that's just one thing that we're talking about, was just really, really crazy, but yet I maybe feel almost kind of awkward to a degree. But then it's just like, well, hey, at least I'm useful for something.
Yeah, I mean, you got that aspect of it could be boosting in that manner, it could be boosting the aura, it could be boosting a semblance even. Continuing on with that, we also have Qrow. Qrow's bad luck charm, semblance of bad luck following everywhere.
Right, and that's another one that kind of wanted to kind of go base into here a little bit here.
Yeah. Then you got, well, as we discussed it in the last video, we're not exactly sure what Ozpin's semblance could really be. A lot of people say, well, it is his semblance is that curse he received to revive in a new body. Well,
reincarnate.
Right. It could be reincarnation being his semblance, but he did specifically say it was a curse. So we're not 100% sure just yet what his could be.
Right, because another point because there's another point I kind of want to bring up on that too, because supposedly he's able to reincarnate, but then turning Qrow and Raven into birds, that's another thing that's kind of got raising questions. That's just kind of like, hey, what's going on with that?
Well, it was stated flat out that that was magic. He used a good chunk of his magic to transform Raven and Qrow into birds. As funny as that sounds, to be his eyes around the world. And bringing that up as well, you mentioned Raven. Her semblance, Yang had stated that her semblance was her portals. That could very well be, or that could also be a type of a magic she learned from Oz. Considering, though, that she uses her sword to do the portal, I would venture to say that is probably her semblance is portal transportation.
That could be true.
I'm not sure how that would work out. Most other almost 90% of the semblances we have seen in the series so far has been able to either be used defensively, support-wise, or offensively. Whereas with Ravens, with the portals, she could fall into the support aspect of being able to help escape, but at the same manner, she opens that portal, they jump through it, the portal doesn't disappear very quickly. We have seen that. So that could enable a person to follow her. So is it possible that those are her semblance? Yes and no, I would say. I could see it being a part of her semblance, not the full semblance. And to get onto that topic, as we were saying with the semblances, we're going to talk about the abilities that we have seen and the fact that RWBY herself had stated, I know RWBY did and so did Oz, that your semblance will evolve and grow with you. It will change and evolve.
And
the evolutions we have seen so far, I have noted, and I talked to Jaune about it as well. We'll talk right away with the first one we discussed, RWBY. We have seen RWBY use high-speed maneuvers. We've seen her be able to move extremely fast, and it will leave behind her telltale rose petals, correct?
Right, but then we also noticed that I did, of course, mind you, I didn't really notice this at first, but then Qrow pointed that out to me, and then and that leads me to think, oh shit, wow, that's incredible. Is how that's a possibility that she turns herself into rose petals, and she moves so fast that you can't see her in the blink of an eye. Period.
Yeah, the reason behind that we discussed prior to us deciding to do semblances for this discussion and topic is in one of the character shorts for Volume 4, we see RWBY enter a town and start fighting a couple of Grimm. She is then seen to literally break into 3 separate forms of her rose petals. There's 3 basically bullets of her rose petals flying around and then recombining to reveal her. So our belief has her semblance finally surpassed his super speed to be able to make her basically intangible when she is in her speed with the semblance to be rose petals, where she can't get hurt when she's using it as she's traveling around. It is a very good probability, I figured, and I mentioned it to Jaune, and Jaune had a couple ideas himself with it as well.
Right, and I'm gonna be honest with you, those ideas that I had, those aren't clicking right now. That's because my brain's just not working for a second here. But of course, I know some people. Of course, Yang would call me Vomit Boy again, but then there's other nicknames that fall behind me. But but regardless, it's just with the way that Ruby just moves around like that. If she really turns those rose petals and she can just move like fast like in the blink of an eye. With me, Qrow, this part did not mention to you because this actually just hit me. This just came to me. I'm kind of wondering. It kind of looks like if she turns those rose petals, it almost kind of I almost kind of think of Nightcrawler from X-Men, the way he teleports and attacks and everything. But
that
I mean,
is
I could
a good
be wrong.
probability. It could evolve into that where she literally just disappears in a puff of rose petals and reappears in another area.
Right, and that was just hitting me too. I was like, well, that would be crazy.
Right. I mean, that is the possibility. We have seen with her aura color being red as well. With her semblance, it could be what could it evolve into next, like we just said. Could it evolve to the point where she literally is teleporting around the battlefield? I could personally see it. It would be really interesting. Again, leave your comments on the video, be it either on the video here or where we post it on the RWBY Amino site, because we will link it on there as well.
Right, exactly, and because that's what Qrow said before. That's where we saw the one comment before, and you guys, your comments will be greatly appreciated because if there's something we're missing here, if there's something we're not getting a point on, please let us know. We'll definitely definitely take a look into that. So because it's going to help us, it's going to help us make things. It's going to help us make our discussions that much more interesting. Well, I should say, so that we can have more interaction with everybody, so to speak.
Right.
But,
and the next one we'll step into is Yang. We know, as is explained by Ty, her semblance is basically a temper tantrum, i.e. berserker rage. Kinetic absorption of power. Every time she's hit, she takes that impact and adds it to her own strength.
And actually, Qrow, one thing I kind of wanted to bring up here, you were thinking like with going with the fact that she might like go Super Saiyan, but the thing kind of look like Vegeta and everybody else. But the thing is, I just thought of something else as well with her, throwing a temper tantrum and everything. There's another character in the Marvel universe that actually kind of has that power too almost. He becomes like pretty much invincible for a while, and the character I'm thinking of, I could be wrong, but it's Wolverine from X-Men.
Well, he doesn't go into a berserker rage, no, but with Yang's, it seems with hers, the fact that every hit she takes, she gets stronger.
Right.
The thing is,
I couldn't think of which character that was referring to. I couldn't think about that one.
Right, but the thing is with her, it's also a fatal weakness. We saw that in her fight with Neo. We've seen it in her fight with Adam. The aspect being, excuse me, if she can't take the hits, if they don't actually hit her, she can't build up her semblance. We've seen that. Like I think at most, Neo hit her twice. And when she went into her rage, she was easily outmaneuvered by Neo. Yang's semblance depends purely on her taking a beating.
Right, and you know what? Actually, there was a different character I was just thinking of, and because there's another character when he gets extremely angry, he becomes super powerful, and you should know where I'm going with. You should know where I'm going with that one.
Well, there's a few that do that, but
the one I'm thinking about is the Incredible Hulk. That once he gets pissed off enough, then bam, he becomes a big, gigantic, almost unstoppable monster. And with Yang, when she takes all these hits, she gets super pissed off and she gets super powerful.
Right.
And
like we have seen her literally punch an Atlas mech into pieces from her rage.
right.
And according to the death battle, shout out to WatchMojo.com. Check them out; they're amazing. Yang, they put Yang up against another fairly popular female brawler, that being Tifa Lockhart.
Oh, damn.
And Tifa lost to Yang. Because of Yang's semblance, and she can take that much of a beating that she can keep going. The problem with Yang's power is, like we said before, it's a double-edged sword. You can damage her as much as you want, and she's going to dish it back, but there's a limit. There's a limit to what she can take, what she can suffer.
Right. And there's actually another thing I kind of wanted to bring up regarding this too. And because I was actually playing the video game. I was playing the video game RWBY Grim Eclipse, and everybody, and those of you who haven't never heard of it or haven't played that game yet, guys, it is on the, as far as I know, it's on the PlayStation Network, and it's also on Steam. I believe Qrow stated he has it on. I believe Qrow has it on Steam. I'm not exactly sure, but
yes,
I have it
on Steam.
Right, and I have it on PlayStation Network. You guys check it out. Amazing game. It's great. And when I was playing the game, and the reason why I bring it up is because I was playing through the first level, and I decided to see what Yang can do. I played Yang, and oh my god, was that shit incredible! Like I could literally deal so much damage. Like I literally took almost no hits practically, or the damage I did take was like, oh, you did me, and then it's like a bitch slap them and they're dead. It's like, wow, that shit was incredible.
Yeah, Yang is the front-running tank and damage dealer of Team RWBY. There's no doubt in my mind on that, because of her being able to take the hits and just dish them right back. Now, to talk about the evolution aspect, the reason we bring up on how hers can evolve, we have not seen Tai Yang's semblance yet. Now,
right.
we have talked already, we mentioned with Weiss, hers being hereditary. Could it potentially be that the kinetic absorption that Yang has be same as Tai's? Could Tai have the same thing except more evolved? Whereas Yang needs to get angry to use hers, Tai is capable of just dishing it right back out, staying calm and collected.
Right. Or is there another thing that has to happen with him that, where could it happen where his is, triggered by fear or triggered by this or triggered some other way that he does it? And,
that is what we're looking forward to hopefully seeing now in Volume 6 is Tai's semblance, what he's capable of doing. That'll answer so many questions that we have for it, and possibly shed more light on Yang's own semblance. Considering she has trained under him to be what she is, to be the martial artist she is.
Right.
Would that at least indicates to me that potentially Yang, or potentially Tai Yang, has a similar semblance to his little firecracker. Could he also have the kinetic absorption, or is his the very opposite and be another form of kinetic ability where he actually uses it against the opponent's own kinetics against them? I.e., oh, you're attacking me with your aura, or you're attacking me with your semblance, and he's able to turn it against you and use your own abilities against you.
Right.
Now, that is he's a fairly trained, well, obviously extremely highly powerful and well-trained martial artist. I could see that. Right.
But there's another semblance that I wanted to get into as well. Of course, referring to my own Sean semblance, referring to my own. Me and Qrow were discussing for quite a while here. We were talking about like what could possibly happen since when mine finally was revealed that when I used Weiss, that she was able to summon that big ass that big huge giant ass Queen Bee looking thing, and which was able to. Right, the Queen Lancer, and we were kind of discussing with each other that what could possibly happen if I were to use my ability to boost everybody else's, like what could possibly happen there.
Which that we're going to definitely touch base on that here, John, but we're going to focus mostly on discussing the semblances we know, and then go into what it could be, what could happen with the inclusion of the boost from Jaune. That's going to be really fun, folks. You're definitely going to want to stay tuned for that.
Oh, yes, definitely.
But to continue on, Yang's could evolve to what her father's could be like. Yang could become extremely calm and not need to throw her Super Saiyan temper tantrum rage.
Go Vegeta on everybody more, right?
Break things. She could be more calm and be able to take the hits, stand up, laugh it off, and then dish it right back out. But the thing is, one of the biggest aspects of Yang is her temper tantrums. That if they do change that aspect, it will feel to me that Yang as a character will have slightly changed. She will have, in essence, grown up more.
Right.
And now moving on to Weiss, there's really not a lot we can say about Weiss.
Right, so far.
I mean, we know the entire Schnee family, all are hereditary. They all have the glyphs. But the only ones we've seen using them so far has been Winter and Weiss. However, we have heard rumor from when we saw Weiss training that the little annoying prick Whitley knows how to use the glyphs. He has mentioned that, but he has said that he finds it more barbaric than anything. Now, Weiss's, we've seen hers evolve. We've seen it go from being able to just control dust better, using the gravity dust, the fire, the ice. We've seen it go from that to being able to summon the one-handed sword, which cut the one mech in half, to summoning the soldier to fight, to finally, as John said, summoning the Queen Lancer. We've seen hers evolving and getting stronger. With the Queen Lancer, like we said, we believe that could be from the influence of Jaune's aura being pumped into her as well.
Right.
But with the glyphs, the sky is the limit, quite frankly. She literally can do almost anything with them. We've already seen it. We've seen her using fire glyphs and blowing up with RWBY when she sneezed, which I still find probably one of the funniest scenes. Oh my god, you really did explode. Then
oh jeez.
We've seen her using, of course, ice, which it seems the ice glyphs or the ice dust seem to be her go-to, though we have seen her use gravity dust a lot more now to help propel her friends, as well as being able to control, I don't know if it's localized gravity, but enabling like RWBY to run up walls vertically. What would you call that? Would that be like gravity or what?
That was another thing that was kind of confusing the hell out of me. It's like, okay, how is she doing that? And so, it's on Qrow. You're related to her. How the hell do you? What the hell? I'm
not related to Weiss. I simply want to bang her sister.
I was talking about relation to RWBY, you idiot.
Well, the kiddo's pretty strong. I still haven't figured out how she was capable of running up that wall yet. But like I said, it definitely used the glyphs with Weiss to run up it.
Or should I say, you drunken bastard?
Hey, my drinks are none of your business. The reason of fact of my liver not working is none of your concern, boy. But going into that, like with Weiss, we want you guys to give us ideas on what you think hers could evolve into, what it could have been, what it can become. I mean, we can see so many options that we ourselves really don't want to give our own opinion on what it could become into, because there is so many possibilities with Weiss's glyphs. I don't want to risk saying one thing and being completely off my target with it.
Mm-hmm. But no, it's like, you know, that's just the one that's just the number one thing that confused. It just still, you know, like, it's like, how in the hell is Ruby running up the walls like that? But you know, at the same token, it's like, I just couldn't help but wonder, you know, like I think you were just saying that, you know, perhaps, like, because yeah, the more I think about it, you're right, that it was because Weiss helped her do that. So,
yeah.
But
now on to the final Team RWBY, our lovely cat girl Blake Belladonna. Blake's semblance has had the most evolution that we have seen. Originally, when we first saw Blake using her shadows in the black trailer,
right,
they could not take any hits. They would literally just be her way of dodging. Now, we've seen that she's able to incorporate dust into her shadows.
Right.
And the fact that some of her shadows, her more solid regular shadows of hers, are capable of at least taking one hit or helping propel her teammates or be able to be used in that manner. Her semblance in that has been getting stronger. We've seen her use ice for her shadows and freezing to help hold up the piece of her house that was threatening to crush Ilya and her dad and son. We've seen her use fire ones to cause an explosion in the fight with Roman. So with hers, again, the sky's the limit. Could hers evolve to the point of being like suns, being fully tangible and capable of fully acting on their own for a bit?
Right, like basically creating clones of herself.
Right. Now, again, with her, we have not seen what semblance her father or mother have, so we can't fully determine what it could be that hers could eventually become or turn into. I personally hope that we're correct, that her semblance will become more and more physical and tangible, because at that point she would become a lot more important to Team RWBY. She would become a lot more valuable in the effect of she could have at least 3 of her shadows out, and one could be acting as a decoy, one could be helping injured. She could effectively become a multitasker even more.
Right.
Now,
or even to a point where, you know, she's like, where they're fighting, and suddenly she becomes to the point where she can create clones of herself that come out, and, like, say they're dealing with one group, there's another group of enemies that's out, and Blake is able to create multiple clones of herself to take down the other group.
Right. Now, with that, again, we can't really come up with a lot. We're willing to listen to you guys on what you think she could eventually do with her shadows.
Right.
Love to hear about it. The next one we're going to enter is Team Juniper.
Yes.
But we're going to start with Ren. Mostly because his is the easiest to really discuss. Ren's has been shown to be emotion suppression. We saw it whenever his activated when he was a child, and it basically blanks your emotions and blankets them and hides them from the Grim. They will not sense you anymore at all. They will lose track of you. We've seen him do that with Nora, as well as we've seen him do it with Jaune and Qrow during the Knuckle V fight. When the thing was going to kill them both, he acted and ended up blanketing them, which immediately the Knuckle V stopped, sniffed at them, could not feel their fear or emotions, then turned and headed straight towards Ren and the rest. We've not seen what his parents were capable of. We only knew his father was a hunter of at least big game. We don't know if he was an actual huntsman, but he was a hunter. And his mother was just a nice stay-at-home woman, so we do not know if they themselves had activated their aura or had semblances.
Right.
Now, his seems to have also, like we said, already evolved. He could blank himself and people he could touch before, like when he hugged Nora when they were children. It has already evolved to the point where if he touched the ground, he could send it through the ground to Qrow and Jaune, blanking them. What could that mean? Could he eventually become literally the perfect spy, if you will, for the Grimm, where they can't sense his emotions or feed on that? Could he effectively blank the whole team to get them out of situations or to help them infiltrate certain situations dealing with the Grimm?
That does. The more I think about it, that would make sense.
Well, they've already said he's basically a freaking ninja. Now, the thing is with him, it seems his abilities comes mostly from his meditation and his upbringing, as well as just in general his personality. What it could evolve into, like we said, it could turn into blanking the entire team, or being able to literally not be able to be sensed by anyone. Effectively becoming a spy, or a true ninja, which would be really interesting, I believe.
Right.
The next one we're going to discuss real quick. Nora. Nora is a weird bundle of what the fuck. We have already seen her doing things that normal people cannot. I swear to God, the girl looks at the rules of life and the laws of physics and laughs.
Don't even get me started. It's like you electrocute her and all that happens to her. It's like, oh, that tickled. And she goes, oh, batshit crazy like Thor.
Right. As she said, how her semblance woke up, got struck by lightning, didn't die. Crazy Thursday. The joke I saw before, which I think is better, is instead of getting struck by lightning as a little child, she stuck a fork in a light socket.
Oh God, that's terrible. But
now, with hers, like we had already stated, her semblance is the ability to absorb electrical energy and store it into her muscles. She's able to literally, you shoot her with lightning, electrocute her, stun rod, whatever. It's just going to make her stronger. She's capable of then boosting her aura with it, as well as her physical strength. We have seen that in the Veil tournament when she was lightning rodded and then struck by a bolt of lightning, and then one-shotted the entire enemy team, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. And basically, she got one shot, and then she looked like, was that supposed to hurt? And just basically dropped them all like a bad habit.
Right. Now, with hers, to discuss what it could possibly evolve into or alter, could it get to the point where she can learn to channel the electricity in her body, making it to the point where she could actually use the electricity that she's struck with or stored in her as a weapon in and of itself? Could she actually turn into, for lack of a better terminology of that, Storm from
X-Men?
The X-Men. Could she control lightning and control the electricity? I could see that happening.
I can too, to be honest with you. that'd be one hell of a thing to happen. Like, say something happened and like she gets struck at a time where it looks like she's getting struck by absorbing too much electricity, and suddenly or suddenly I use my semblance on her, and next thing you know, she's able to suddenly now shoot out electricity like it's nothing. Like before an enemy shoots at her, it goes like die, shoots her with electricity. She goes like she laughs and go eat it, bitch.
Well, in that manner, we've already seen what will actually happen slightly when dealing with Hazel. When he literally was holding her by her head, electrocuting her, she actually was feeling the pain. It was a little too much for her. But it still just empowered her to the point where she was capable of bitch slapping Hazel through a wall like it was nothing.
Right? Basically, she's like, I don't need him to hurt. I just need him to go down. And then all of a sudden, bam! Just went 4 on his ass. They blew him right through the damn wall there. And he's sitting there, everybody's sitting there looking like, what the fuck just happened?
Right. Then you also have that aspect of, like we said, it could evolve into lightning actual control, being able to control the various lightning in the area or electricity, which would be quite an interesting semblance at that point in time. The next one we are going to talk about is our lovely Pyrrha. Pyrrha's was polarity. We knew this. We had seen just how strong her polarity was. Capable of moving an entire elevator, giant gears, all the way down to she had such fine and delicate control that she was capable of even, like in the RWBY Chibi, levitating a single coin. So it has shown that her control, at least over her semblance, was quite strong. Now, the sad aspect is we're never going to see, unfortunately, what truly could have been with her loss of life, unfortunately.
Oh, don't remind me, damn it.
Now, we can at least slightly, possibly determine what it could be. And the best example for it, and pure and simple, she would be Magneto. There is no doubt in my mind with that sheer level of control, she would have become like Magneto. Probably capable of levitation and whatnot. She had such fine control, she was capable of stopping her own weapon in midair, bringing it back to herself, fighting in that manner. She could have been, like I just said, and I'm pretty sure John would agree, like Magneto from X-Men. She would literally be the power of magnetism.
Well, kind of like when I was launched in the air and during the academy training, and suddenly she threw her sword and then stuck my ass against the tree. Yeah.
But that's pretty much all we can really say with that. I mean, we'll gladly take any information you guys have, what you could think of, what she would have been like with her, what it could have evolved into, how powerful it could have been. Could it have even gotten to the point where she could have actually used her polarity to control the very iron in the person's blood? Which, that manner would have been flat out. She could have been then the most dangerous one in all of Juniper.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, because of, like we said, unfortunately with Pyrrha, there really wasn't a lot we could discuss with that. Jaune. We will go into discussions about like Qrow's and probably Raven's a bit more, and as well as even Hazel's, and probably even Neo's now that I'm thinking about it. But I wanted to end at least the team discussions with Jaune. Because of the simple effect, even now, yes, it's been shown he's capable of giving his aura and using it like that as a boost. He is a booster. Is it his semblance? More than likely that is his semblance. Aura transfer and control. And boosting that.
Right, and we were... And Qrow and I were kind of talking about like the way with how how could everybody else's semblances how could they evolve. We're kind of discussing like what can happen during battle if suddenly somebody was down and I were to use my and I were to use that ability on someone. What could possibly have happened?
Right, and we were discussing as well with Jaune's ability of his semblance to boost others' auras and probably even their semblances, what could happen to the character's semblance he's using it on. Jaune effectively is a trump card, no offense. He is the trap card. You have activated the trap card. He has now boosted them and you are now fucked. In the effect, you have for instance, we've already seen people have based their own theories and an actual statement. We had an image of what people said it could have been like, what the character's semblance would act like with being boosted by Jaune.
Right.
With RWBY, everybody had pretty much agreed it would be like it would be light speed or basically instant transmission. She's there and then gone. Mm-hmm. That is a very, very probable thing with that. We'll go into Weiss with this. Weiss, if her glyphs were boosted, we believe the reason she was able to summon the Queen Lancer is because of that. She was boosted by Jaune, meaning what could she possibly summon and use as her allies in a battle now with that? It would be pretty damn strong. The fact she could summon the Snake Grim or even the mechs she has seen. Could she summon them? We've seen her summon, like we said, we saw her summon the little soldier, the knight, and the queen, meaning that her semblance is growing, and now that she's gotten boosted slightly by Jaune, it at least helped open up her ability of summoning that.
Right, and it's like, what else could she possibly summon with that thing? And it's like, oh boy, this is going to be very interesting.
Yes. The next one we're going to mention on what we think could happen with Jaune's boosting, Blake. And the only phrase we saw constantly that made us chuckle, Kagebushin no Jutsu. To the point where she could make thousands of clones of herself, shadows. But they would actually be physical, completely physical, where you could not tell the difference, and you could hit them, think you're taking her out, it's the clone, it actually quote-unquote dies, and it finally disappears. She could effectively become a one-woman army at that point in time.
Talk about another term for another meaning for the Pokemon move double team.
Right. It would not be a very good gangbang with her. She would break you beyond belief at that point. That is the boost. Now, with her, that's the thing. Imagine it that every single shadow she summons at that point in time are also capable of summoning shadows. It literally would be never ending. It could be a perfect escape ploy or decoy or, like I already said, one-woman army. It would be extremely powerful with that aspect. At that point, I would actually determine Blake, if that was the case, being boosted like that, would probably be the most dangerous out of all of Team RWBY. Next is Yang. Now, if anybody has seen this show that we're about to mention, they'll understand right away. The only thing we could think of that what it would boost her to, Jaune laughed at this, and I'm even chuckling internally right now. Yang would become One Punch Man. She would be One Punch Yang. She wouldn't be One Punch Man, she would be One Punch Yang. And the reason behind that is, if you think about it, if it boosts that, the sheer damage she can do when she's already enraged, boosting her semblance in that manner could effectively double, triple, quadruple, multiply it by 10. She literally would become a god, where she would literally flick you with her pinky finger and you would explode in a fountain of blood. You would die. There is no ends, ifs, or buts about that.
Right. She basically a Grim comes up to her, she goes, haha, gives it just one slight tap to the face and it's destroyed.
Exactly. The sheer respect on that is how potent it would be. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this one as well, because of how powerful she could become with that. Would it be the point of being beyond dangerous with her with that? The next we're going to talk with the boosting, is Ren. I've heard people describe it as world peace, being able to literally blanket an entire kingdom from the Grim, to shield them all from the Grim finding them with the emotions. That would be literally, like we said, world peace, or local peace, where if the Grim can't sense your fear, they ain't coming there. They're gonna leave.
Right.
With that one, there's really not a lot else we can discuss about that, given the effect of his is more support based than anything else.
Right. So basically, that's one thing that. So in other words, that's one thing that I would have in common with him. Basically, mine would be basically supported. His base would be supported. Basically, double support, pretty much.
Pretty much. Nora, again, it would be. She literally would become the god of thunder. She would be Thor. Probably being capable of controlling, like we said, the electrical currents even more. But even more dangerous in the effect of, she effectively would probably become similar to a railgun in effect. Extremely high impact, massive energy blasting lightning is what I would think would happen. She's channeling it to the point where she probably could use it to completely obliterate someone. Again, at that point, Nora would probably be the most dangerous out of Juniper. Or the remains of Juniper. It's now Juniors, but...
Regardless.
Now, on the theory aspect, we can't really say what the boost would be for Pyrrha, if that would ever happen. Because of her sheer level already and her control, it would just mean she would have a lot more power in that effect of being able to, like we said, control maybe the very iron in a person's blood, or control even possibly ferrous metals, or whatever the hell it's called, metals that aren't actually magnetic. She might even be able to control them.
And we're pretty sure we know a lot of you watching this would probably be thinking right now, why are you even theorizing about Pyrrha anyways? Why are you theorizing about anything about her anyway? She's dead. What's the point? But the guys, see, the point of the matter is we're basically giving our own. We're just trying to figure out what it could have been, But so
right.
So,
we
so
want to see. We want to figure what it could have been, what could be. That's why we both agreed, I think you would say as well, John, that including her in the what if scenarios does honor to the character.
Yes. So that's another thing for everyone to think about. That's why we're bringing her in this, because you know she's a character too. She's one of us too. So I don't care. She's still with all of us in spirit. That's the way I see it.
Well, she's also slightly in Ruby's lungs. I think she breathed in some of her dust. But
go back to the pub.
But next, we're going to talk about, and we're even going to discuss the boosting on it. Qrow's semblance, my semblance, bad luck. The aspect being, anywhere Qrow goes, or I went, it was something bad would happen. The table breaking, getting slapped by the waitress whose skirt was too short, getting beyond drunk and almost getting killed by Winter. What could happen if
you're practically going to become either Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees, damn it. So that's just how it is.
No, I would say if Qrow's was boosted in that manner and his bad luck increased, I would say the simple phrase for that would be Salem wins. Because there simply would be no stopping it. Anytime you would try to do something, the bad luck would hit. Death would be happening. You literally would just destroy the world with that effect.
Well, I mean, Qrows are the birds of bad luck, so I mean, you're just walking disaster anyway. But I mean,
right.
Hey, who would judge?
That's with his. Could his semblance, the quote-unquote bad luck, which I still don't fully think it is, I think it's something more than that, what could his become? Well, if we're going on the bad luck, it could be a death charm. The effect being that his presence will not just bring bad luck, but bring death. We've already talked before amongst ourselves. Could it be that his semblance caused Summer's death?
And that you're drinking all the time to try to kind of numb the pain and kind of trying to forget about it.
Right. Now, I'm gonna make this statement. Let us know what you think on Qrow's semblance. Is it actually the bad luck or misfortune? Or is it something else you think? And by all means, just let us know. It's awesome to hear. The next one we're going to talk about semblance-wise and the boosting is Raven. We know about Raven's quote-unquote semblance, the portal. With her portal, with the semblance for that, we know she's bound to other people. Could it be that whenever hers is boosted, she can create a portal to anywhere without being bound to them? Or could it be that her portals would become even stronger where they're capable of, for lack of a better term, ripping a fabric in space and time?
Wow, I didn't even think about that. I mean, it's like, could it possibly be where if she's in danger and like she senses that she's in danger, and even if it is to a point where she does kind of come to her senses, she decides to help everybody, but then at the point where if it's overwhelming and she can't and she needs to gather to to get to safety, she can teleport open a portal pretty much anywhere. Doesn't matter where it is.
Right. And, I mean, that's my thought. Now...
Well, she's your sister. You should fucking know this shit.
No, I would rather not know anything about her as far as I'm concerned. Now, the other the final one we want to talk about with the semblances, I want to. I mean, we'll probably talk more on them later on the next video.
Right.
Oz's. If boosted by Jaune, what could Oz do? This one here, we ain't even going to discuss it, folks. Because, frankly, only God knows what the fuck Oz can do. That son of a bitch, I don't even want to think about what he's capable fully of. But I would like, and I think Jaune will agree with me here, we would like you guys, one, to show us that you actually are listening and watching our videos, in either RWBY Amino or the comments for here. Tell us what you actually think Oz's semblance is, as well as what you think it would do when boosted by Jaune.
Yes, everyone, this is one of the biggest reasons why we're doing this, why we decided to do this in the first place, because we kind of wanted to give our own not just give our own personal opinions as to what could possibly happen, but we're looking for other input too, so that we can try to we may not know exactly what's going to happen, but we would at least like to hear everybody else's thoughts of what could happen. Kind of give us some help here.
Right. Now, we don't have a lot of time left, folks, because we're going to try to keep these videos somewhat moderate length. But our next thing we want to talk about real quick are the family ties. What could happen with the families in the family trees? How could it cause it? Real quick, Jaune and I discussed the effect of, could Ruby's semblance be something similar to her mother's? Could Summer's be high speed or defense? Or could even Ruby's have been defense that eventually transformed into being the rose petals to dodge? Could Yang's actually be in response to danger that she faced during their childhood to protect Ruby when she was saved by Qrow and them? What does everyone think? I mean, Jaune and I, we've had our discussion, and the reason why we're not going into it really right now, folks, is frankly, I think Jaune would agree with me. To talk about the family trees and all the connections in there is going to have to be a completely separate video, because that's going to take us at least an hour, folks, to discuss that. And frankly, I don't think we want to have a 2-hour video.
At least not right now, and because this is only our second episode, and we kind of want to try to keep things, on a simple, not really simple discussion, but more, it's more on a shorter one for right now. But anyways, yeah, because on our next video, or at least one of our next videos, we can go a lot more into it. And of course, there's a couple more semblances, we kind of wanted to bring up and discuss, because there's a couple of side characters that we didn't bring up yet.
Yeah, like Neo and Hazel and Sun and a couple of the background characters, like even Velvet and
Ilya.
Yeah, Ilya and Coco and Fox. The background, well, not background characters, but the side characters, what could their semblance actually be? What could it use? And that's another one we want to go into here on the next video, because it's going to take us a long time, not a long time, but a little bit to get an idea on what the theories are that are around out there about that.
Right. But
I think Jaune will agree with me. This, we believe, folks, is what we have seen, what we have read up on the different semblances, the main characters that we've seen, what they could grow into, what they could possibly become.
Right, well. And it's like, this we've been talking about this for a while. We basically just wanted to know your opinions on all this. Like, what do you guys think? And just let us know. And without some feedback, we really wouldn't be able to. We won't know exactly what we're missing because as stated because there was in our first video there was a comment on the RWBY app on the phone app. Somebody brought up some really good points, which we'll discuss in another video.
Yeah, probably the next video we'll start tackling some of those points. But before we go, everyone, I did want to say we're doing these videos for you guys. We want to be able to pull all the different theories we see, all the ones we hear, all the ones we've read. We want to bring them forward and discuss them with you guys. So you guys can say, oh God, didn't think of that, or help even make those theories grow, evolve, change, become better and better.
And also another thing we kind of wanted to, bring up here, or as I wanted to bring this up, we can't get to it right away, but eventually we do want to someday, do a live stream of this.
Right.
And
if we very well might in the future. As well as we're definitely going to be streaming we're not streaming, but doing some Let's Play videos of the two of us, playing probably RWBY Grimm clips with one another.
Yeah,
and
exactly. And
folks, if you have games that we're playing or what we have, or you even want to play with us, let us know. But playing games with us, if you want to play with us, let us know. We have no problem in joining with you guys, playing, having fun. You have other games you want to try with us, by all means, feel free. I'm always for it. I know Jean is. But, as I said, we're going to let you guys get going here. We don't have any say in this series, folks. So, anything we have said ain't going to make one lick of fucking difference.
Exactly. We're just giving we're only giving our own personal thoughts and we're thoughts and theories as what we think could possibly happen. And any feedback that you guys give us is more than welcome. And we'll definitely, if it's something that you want us to discuss in a future video, please let us know, and we'll definitely look into that.
Right, as well as the simple fact, folks, that we are always welcoming anything you have to say, because our theories are just that, theories. If you have one you want us to talk about, if you have a theory you think could happen, whatever, let us know. You can even drop us a line saying, you guys suck donkey dick, for all we care. We ain't gonna worry, because it's not gonna stop us, folks. We're gonna keep going.
Exactly.
We're gonna keep going to bring you guys the different theories, rumors, everything we can find for RWBY.
Right, so, and hell, if you guys even drop a comment saying you guys suck, why are you guys even bothering? Well, the way we see it is, if you don't like watching the videos, then we're not making you do shit. So this is all on you.
Right, we are doing what we think is worth it. So, folks, again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I'm Qrow. That's John. And
we are out.
Have a good one, folks.